Hello and welcome to the deep dive session on Amazon Bedrock model evaluation. If you are new to AWS or want to enhance your skill on AWS AI services, this session is for you. This video is part of the AWS certified AI/ML bootcamp series. On behalf of the CloudExpert Solution team, I would like to thank you for joining us and exploring this video. In the previous module, we explored model customization, fine-tuning, and transfer learning features. In this module, we will dive into Amazon Bedrock's model evaluation techniques and understand their significance. You might be wondering, why do we need model evaluation when Amazon Bedrock already provides ready-to-use foundation models? If that question is on your mind, let's start by addressing it first before diving into model evaluation methods. Let's assume we are building a customer service chatbot. And here our purpose is we need to choose the best foundation model from Amazon Bedrock for our specific use case. We can choose models like Anthropic Claude and Cohere Command. Now we need to determine which model will perform better for our conversational use cases. We can evaluate multiple models on benchmark datasets or with task-specific metrics like accuracy, BLEU score, F1 score, and all. In model evaluation, we are comparing performance to select the model that best meets for our requirement. And without evaluation, you cannot make informed decisions to select the model that is optimal for your use case. Now you got a clear idea that why do we need model evaluation or to select the optimal foundation model for our use case. Let's explore the model evaluation techniques currently supported by Amazon Bedrock. There are two main approaches, automatic evaluation and human evaluation. Automatic evaluation approach offers two evaluation options, programmatic evaluation. In programmatic evaluation, Amazon Bedrock uses predefined scripts or tools to assess the model based on selected objective metrics, whereas for model as judge, a pre-trained LLM model evaluates the output of another one model. As the name suggests, automatic evaluation does not require human intervention. However, a data scientist may still need to review the final output and make an informed decision. Moving to human evaluation, unlike automatic evaluation, human evaluation is entirely manual and require a workforce to assess the model's performance. You have two workforce options, AWS Managed Workforce, where AWS provides a curated team to evaluate responses from up to two models, and the other option is bring your own workforce, where we can use internal team for evaluation. When using human evaluation, you must provide detailed instruction, a step-by-step evaluation process, and a rating criteria which is not required for automatic evaluation. We'll start with automatic evaluation, model as a judge. The evaluation process begins with a prepared dataset containing prompts that will be used to test the model's performance, and we call that as prompt dataset. There are some prerequisites or dataset requirements. Each line must be a valid JSON object, and the prompt dataset file, it must be a JSON-L formatted file, and the dataset must be stored in Amazon S3 bucket. Now let's assume we have created our prompt dataset which is in JSON-L format, and the dataset is available in Amazon S3 bucket. The next step in the evaluation process is creating LLM as a judge model evaluation job. While creating this evaluation job, first we are going to select the evaluator model, the model which will be used as a judge, and the judge model we have limited number of options. Either we can use Anthropic models or Mistral AI models. These will be already pre-trained models that we can use as a judge model. The next step is we need to select the generator model. Here generator model is the foundation model that you want to evaluate. Please remember, the generator model should be a different model than the evaluator model or judge model. In terms of generator model or the model for evaluation, you can choose any model that is currently available in Amazon Bedrock. The next step is we need to select the evaluation metrics, and we have two different types of metrics. The first is quality, where you have 9 quality metrics like helpfulness, faithfulness, correctness, completeness, relevance, and the second category is responsible AI metrics, where we have 3 metrics like harmfulness, refusal, and stereotyping. We'll see all those in action. Now, once we have selected the evaluation metrics, the next step is we need to select or we need to provide the Amazon S3 bucket path where the automated report will be generated. Once the model evaluation completed, the judge model will generate detailed evaluation reports which will contain metrics, scores, and insights at both aggregate and individual response levels. And the Amazon S3 bucket will be used to store that evaluation result. As the final step, we can use expert analysis where we can deploy our data scientists or machine learning engineers who can analyze the generated reports and they can derive the actionable insights and make the informed decisions, that is which model is optimal for our use case. Now let's review this LLM as a judge model evaluation in action. I have logged into AWS Management Console and I am at Amazon Bedrock landing screen. For model evaluation, from the left hand side, we need to go to Inference and Assessments, and here is the evaluation just below cross-region inference. Now let's click Evaluation. Here you go. We have two different types of evaluation. The first type is automatic and the second type is human. Now under automatic, if you click on the create button, you can see automatic, programmatic. We are going to review just after this demo. And now let's concentrate on model as judge. Now let's select that. The first step is you need to provide an evaluation name. You can use any name you want. Optionally, you can provide the description. The next is we need to select the evaluator model or the judge model, which is going to evaluate the foundation model. Now let's click on the select model and you can see I have only option for Anthropic and Mistral AI. Under Anthropic, I can select Cloud 3 Haiku or Cloud 3.5 Sonnet, and from Mistral AI, I have Mistral Large 24.02 version. Now let's select Anthropic and Cloud 3 Haiku as our judge model. We can optionally add tags. I am going to skip that. The next is generator model. The generator model is the foundation model which we want to evaluate. Now let's click select model and you can see all the models currently Amazon Bedrock supports. From Amazon, I can select either Titan Text G1 Premier, Nova Pro or any model you want. For this demo, I'll select Titan Text G1 Premier. And in terms of inference, either we can select inference profile or on demand. Currently, I do not have an inference profile. That is why I am going to select on demand and I am going to apply. We have selected the model. For automated evaluation, you can evaluate only one model at a time. You cannot select more than one model for automated evaluation. Now, in terms of metrics, we already discussed we have total 9 quality metrics like helpfulness, faithfulness, completeness, and you can select based on your requirement. On the other hand, you have responsible AI metrics and we have 3 metrics as of today like harmfulness, refusal, and stereotyping. Let's assume that we are going to select all the 3. The next is the dataset. The S3 bucket that holds the dataset must be in the same AWS region as your Amazon Bedrock instance. Since I am in US-1 Northern Virginia, it requires the bucket to be in US-1 as well. I don't have a sample dataset to use right now. However, we want to explore all available options for creating a model as judge evaluation job. To proceed, I will browse S3 and select an existing S3 bucket location. Since I don't have an existing dataset, let's go back. Next, we need to define the evaluation result path, which is where the evaluation result will be stored. Please select the appropriate S3 location based on your use case. Then we configure IAM permissions. We can either select an existing IAM role or create a new one. The IAM role must have the necessary permissions to access the S3 bucket, to read the PROM dataset, and to store the evaluation results in Amazon S3. Now let's move on to encryption settings. This is an optional configuration. By default, your evaluation job data is encrypted with an AWS own KMS key. However, if you prefer to use your own KMS key, you can select the checkbox and provide the details of your custom KMS key. Finally, click the Create button. Creating this button will initiate the Model as Judge automatic model evaluation job. If you have followed along up to this point, AWS has not charged anything yet. However, after this step, AWS will start charging for the evaluation job. I'll cancel at this stage and return to my PPT to continue with the next module. Now let's review the automatic evaluation programmatic. Programmatic evaluation uses traditional natural language processing or NLP algorithms and metrics to evaluate the model output. This technique is useful for tasks like classification, regression, or structured prediction. Programmatic evaluation technique is applicable when you have labeled dataset and you need objective metrics like BERTScore, F1 score, BLEU, ROUGE, that type of metrics you want to evaluate. We are going to talk about all the evaluation metrics in the latter part of this video, and we have dedicated slides for that. For evaluation dataset or prompt dataset, you can either use built-in dataset or you can bring your own custom dataset. Now let's review the programmatic evaluation with a diagram. First, we need to create the Amazon Bedrock automatic evaluation, and in this case, you have to create the programmatic evaluation job. The first step will be, we need to select the model, and this is the model we are going to evaluate. In terms of model availability, you can select any foundation model that is currently available in Amazon Bedrock, like Amazon AI-21 lab models, Anthropic models, Cohere models, Mistral AI, and other models. The next step after model selection is select the task type. And in terms of task type, you can select either general task generation or task summarization or task classification or even question and answer type of task. Based on these different task types, we have different evaluation metrics. These are all pre-built metrics like toxicity, accuracy, robustness, and these metrics varies based on the selected task type. Like if you select task classification, you will not see any toxicity. For that case, you will have only accuracy and robustness. But if you are going to use for general text generation, then you will be able to see toxicity, accuracy, and robustness. Now, once we have selected the evaluation metrics, the next part is we need to choose the prompt dataset. And as we mentioned earlier, we have two different options. Either I can use built-in dataset that currently Amazon Bedrock provides, or I can use Amazon S3 where I can upload my own custom datasets, and using that own custom datasets also I'll be able to evaluate the model. And finally, we have to provide the S3 bucket location. Like in our previous method, all the evaluation results will be persisted to this Amazon S3 bucket. And as part of last step, we can use expert analysis where we can bring our data analyst or the data scientist who can explore these results and who can take those informed decisions. Let's go back to AWS Management Console and let's review all the options available for programmatic evaluation. I'm back to AWS Management Console. Now this time we are going to select automatic, programmatic. Again, the first step is we have to provide a name for the evaluation. You can use any name you want. Optionally, you can add a description and you can add tags also for this evaluation job. The next step is model selector, where we are going to select the model what we want to evaluate. Now let's select a model. Again, we are going to select Titan Text G1 Premier. Since this is an automated evaluation, you can select only one model at a time. Please remember this fact. Now next is task type. As we explained, we have general text generation, text summarization, question and answer, and text classification. Let's select general text generation, and here are the metrics. We have toxicity, then we have accuracy, and we have robustness. For toxicity, here I have option, either I can go with available built-in datasets or I can use my own dataset. If I am going to use my own dataset, that time I have to provide the S3 bucket location or the file of the dataset or the prompt dataset. I'll go with available built-in dataset. This is the first metric. The second metric is accuracy. Again, the same thing. And the third is robustness. Now, if you pay attention, when we are going with available built-in datasets, we have three options: bold, Trex, and Wikitext2. These are the available datasets currently we have. If you are going to choose our own dataset, then these options will be vanished, and rather we have to provide our S3 bucket location or our prompt dataset location. Now, in terms of evaluation result, here you can provide an S3 bucket location. This is mandatory, where you can store the evaluation result. Once everything is done, the last step is you need an IAM permission or IAM role for this evaluation job to persist the data into the Amazon S3 bucket or even to read the data from the S3 bucket. Either you can select an existing role if you have one, or you can create a new role, and then the last step is create. I'm back to my PPT. Now you might have some confusion when to use the programmatic versus when to use LLM as judge. Let's clarify that for you. In one hand we have programmatic, and on the other hand we have model as judge. We will start with use cases. Programmatic should be used when we have objective task requirement. That means where clear ground truth level exists, like for classifications, regressions. On the other hand, if we have subjective task where human-like judgment is required, like text quality analysis or to evaluate creativity, for those use cases you can use model as judge or LLM as judge model. In terms of metrics, as we mentioned earlier, we can use objective metrics like F1 score, BLEU, ROUGE. On the other hand, for model as judge, where objective metrics are hard to define. That means here you need to evaluate fluency, relevance, and in those cases you do not have any available objective metrics. In terms of example use cases, you can use programmatic evaluation for spam detection, sentiment analysis, image classification. On the other hand, model as judge can be used for chatbot response evaluation or maybe creating writing assessments, and here you can understand the different use cases that model as judge and programmatic evaluation solves. In terms of data sets, for programmatic you need label data sets. On the other hand, for model as judge, you do not need any label datasets because you are going to use LLM model judgment, a non-label data or unsupervised learning for this method. And in terms of scalability, programmatic evaluation is highly scalable for large dataset when you need to evaluate thousands of output very quickly. On the other hand, since we have a model as a judge, the scalability will depend on the judge model's cost and the speed. Next, we are going to review model evaluation using human. First, we are going to review the use cases or when to use human evaluation. To start with, if you have any subjective task where the quality of the output is subjective and requires human judgment. As an example, if you are evaluating the fluency and coherence of text generation, or if you are using to assess the creativity or emotional impact of a content, in those cases you need to use human evaluation. Other use cases, like if you have a very complex or nuanced task where automatic metrics may not capture the full context or nuances. As an example, in medical diagnosis supports, evaluating whether the model's recommendation align with clinical guidelines is more important. Or for legal document analysis use case, if you want to assess the accuracy and relevance of legal advice generated by the model. And last but not least, high stakes applications, where applications errors can have significant consequences, like for financial advice. There you need to ensure that the model's recommendations are accurate and compliant with the regulations. For human evaluation, you have option to select either AWS managed workforce, or you can bring your own workforce for the entire evaluation process. Now let's understand the entire concept and the step-by-step process using a flow diagram. The first step is we need to create model evaluation or human evaluation job. And as part of this job, we need to select the model which we are going to evaluate using our human workforce. And in terms of model options, you can choose any foundation models available in Amazon Bedrock. And please remember, for human evaluation, you can choose two models simultaneously and you can compare the models, which was not possible for automatic model evaluation. The next step after selection is select the task type. And in terms of task type, you can either generate general task generation, task summarization, task classification, question answer and all, or even you can create your own custom task. For human evaluation, you have more task options than the programmatic one, and we are going to review once we log in back to the AWS Management Console. After selecting the task type, you need to select the evaluation metrics and the rating methods. In terms of evaluation metrics, again, you have toxicity, accuracy, and robustness. And in terms of rating methods, how the human evaluator will rate their observations, you can choose either thumbs up or thumbs down, or you can choose Likert scales. You can choose different rating techniques for different metrics. Once you have selected the task type, evaluation metrics, rating method, the next step is you need to choose the prompt dataset, and also we need to provide the evaluation result persistence location. And in both the cases, we have to choose Amazon S3 bucket location from where it is going to read the prompt dataset and where it is going to persist the evaluation result. Now after that, we need to set up a team. And in this case, when you are going to set up that team, you are going to provide detailed explanation what you want to perform. Like if you want to do a general text generation, you need to provide the detailed explanations how you are going to evaluate those observations. And once the team is going to evaluate, they can provide their evaluation either using thumbs up or thumbs down. And here is an example, like for result 1, result 2, they can provide yes, this is exactly matching. That's why they can provide a thumbs up. Whereas result 3, it's not at all satisfactory. They can provide a thumbs down. Now let's go back to AWS Management Console and let's review human evaluation in action. Back to AWS Management Console, we'll go back to evaluation. And now in this case, from human, either we can create AWS Manage Work Team or we can bring our own work team. Let's select bring our own work team. Like the previous options, the first step is we need to provide evaluation details, that is evaluation job name and optional description. The next step is here we have to set up the evaluation. Now let's select the models you want to evaluate. Maybe I am going to select Titan Text G1 Premier. And here you go, you can add one more model here. Maybe I am going to select Anthropic Cloud A3 Haiku. For human evaluation, you can select two models simultaneously. And now the task type. In terms of task type, you can go for general text generation, text summarization, question answer, text classification, and custom. Let's select the text summarization. And now all the evaluation metrics. Here you have toxicity, accuracy, and relevance. You can provide a custom description. And now the rating methods. Here you can go with thumbs up, thumbs down, or you can go with Likert scale. And for the last, let's go with the thumbs up. You can also add new metrics here. You can select correctness, you can provide the description and the rating method. Maybe I'll select choice buttons here. The next step is dataset selection, where we need to define the dataset. For human evaluation, you must bring your own custom dataset as there is no built-in dataset option available. The dataset must be stored in Amazon S3 and the S3 bucket must be in the same AWS region as your Amazon Bedrock instance. The S3 bucket must have cross-origin resource sharing or CORS enabled. Since I don't have a real dataset available, I have created a sample blank .jsonl file. JSONL is nothing but a simply text-based file format for JSON content. Moving to evaluation result location. Next, we need to select an S3 location for storing the evaluation result. Since we want to review all the available options, the specific location I select does not matter for now. Moving to IAM permissions. For IAM permissions, let's select an existing IAM role that has necessary privileges to access and process the dataset and also parses the evaluation results in the selected S3 bucket. If you don't have an existing IAM role, you can create one at this stage. Now let's click next. We have received some exception, and as I mentioned earlier, your S3 bucket must have CORS enabled for proper functionality. Let's ignore this error and review the next step, which is the workforce creation. You can create a new work team or remove workers from an existing team while setting up an evaluation job. Amazon Bedrock supports a maximum of 50 workers per work team. After configuring the workforce, next we need to create instruction for workforce, what they will use for evaluation. Please remember, a clear and well-structured instruction is crucial for accurate model evaluation. To keep this video focused and relevant, I won't be going into unnecessary details or setting up a dummy evaluation job that could incur real AWS charges. Instead, let's dive deeper into evaluation metrics to better understand how they impact the model's performance. In next couple of slides, we are going to review automated model evaluation metrics, and we are going to start with ROUGE, or recall oriented understudy for gisting evaluation. You have to remember this full form. This matrix evaluates the quality of the text summarization by comparing the overlap between the generated text and the reference text. And for that, we have two key variations. One is ROUGE in, that measures the overlap of in-gram, that is ROUGE 1 for unigrams, ROUGE 2 for bigrams, and we'll see with an example. And the second variation is ROUGE L, which measures the longest common subsequence, or LCS, between the generated and the reference text. Now let's understand the calculation or those metrics with some example. As an example, we'll use the reference text as the cat sat on the mat, and let's assume the generated text is the cat was on the mat. First, we are going to review what is ROUGE 1, that is what is unigram. In our reference text, the cat sat on the mat. If we are going to break using unigrams, we'll have our reference unigrams as the cat sat on the mat. All those words will treat as a separate unigrams, and the generated text, if you are going to break using unigrams, it will be like the cat was on the mat. Now if you are going to compare, we have the overlapping unigrams. The is common, cat is common, on the mat. These 5 unigrams are overlapped or common between reference unigrams and generated unigrams. Whereas you can see the was and sat, these are not common, but all others are common. Now the ROUGE1 or recall will be overlapping unigram over the total number of unigrams. And here we have overlapping unigrams as 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is why it is 5 unigrams. And in the reference unigrams, we have total 6 unigrams, the, cat, sat, on, the, mat. That is why the ROUGE1 recall will be 5 over 6, which is 0.83. Now, if you want to understand ROUGE2 or bigrams, in that case, the reference bigram will be the cat, then cat sat, sat on the mat. In this case, we are going to use 2 words at a time. That is why it's called the bigrams. And the generated bigrams will be the cat was on the mat. And the overlap will be the cat on the mat. For ROUGE2 recall, we are going to use overlapping bigrams over the reference bigrams. We have 3 overlapping bigrams, that is the cat on the mat. These are the 3 bigrams. And the reference bigrams, here we have 5 reference bigrams. That is why 3 over 5, which is nothing but 0.06. Now let's understand an example of ROUGE-L. The ROUGE-L is longest common subsequence. When you are talking about subsequence, a subsequence is a sequence that appears in the same order, but it's not necessarily continuously. Since these are not continuous, the longest common subsequence between the reference text and the generated text is, or the common is, the cat on the mat. So this is the longest common subsequence where we have total words as 6. So the ROUGE-L will be length of the LCS divided by total number of words in the reference text, which is nothing but 5 over 6, that is 0.83. Although you do not have to understand how to calculate ROUGE1, ROUGE2 or ROUGE-L, I try to explain for a better understanding. You need to remember what is the full form of ROUGE, that is recall oriented understudy for gisting evaluation. 2 different variant or the key variants, that is ROUGE-N. You can have ROUGE1 for unigrams, ROUGE2 for bigrams and so on. And ROUGE-L, which is for largest common subsequence, which is to measure the longest common subsequence between the generated and the reference text. The next evaluation metric is BLEU, and full form is Bilingual Evaluation Understudy. The BLEU is used to evaluate the quality of machine translation or text generation by comparing n-gram overlaps between the generated text and the reference text. It focuses on the precision, that means how much of generated text matches the reference. In terms of key factors, we use a brevity penalty to penalize overly short translations. Typically, we calculate in terms of n-grams like BLEU1 to BLEU4. The similar concept what we have used for ROUGE in terms of use cases. BLEU can be used for machine translation or text generation evaluation. Let's review one example. For BLEU1, the formula is, it is a multiplication of precision into brevity penalty. Now let's use the same example where we have reference text as the cat sat on the mat, and the model, let's assume, generated the text as the cat was on the mat. In terms of BLEU1, reference unigrams are all the words, and for generated unigrams, we can also break the entire sentence with words, and we have the matching unigrams as the cat on the mat. Now in terms of precision, this is number of matching unigrams versus total number of generated text. And if you are going to use that formula, which will be 5 over 6, because we have 5 matching unigrams and total number of unigrams in the generated text is 6. So it will be 0.83. Now the second step or step 2 would be, we need to calculate the brevity penalty. For brevity penalty, the 2 things is there. One is the length of the generated text, that is 6 words, and the reference text again 6 words. Since in this case the generated text and the reference text are same, that is why the brevity penalty is 1. And now to calculate the BLEU 1, we need to multiply precision with brevity penalty, which is for our use case 0.83. Again, you do not have to understand how to calculate that BLEU 1 for the certification. This is just to give you a reference how different evaluation metrics can be used to calculate the value or to evaluate the model's performance. The next evaluation matrix is F1 score. F1 score is the harmonic mean of precision and the recall, and F1 score is commonly used for classification tasks like binary classification, multi-class classification and all. As an example, you can use F1 score when you have an use case like spam detection, sentiment analysis, all those binary classifications or multi-class classifications use case. And here is the formula to calculate the F1 score. Again, you do not have to remember this formula, where precision is how many predicted positives are actually positive, and in terms of recall, that will define the how many actual positives are correctly predicted. So now once you have identified the precisions and recall, you can use that F1 formula to calculate the F1 score for that particular binary or the multi-class classification model. The next evaluation metric is BERTScore. BERTScore evaluates text generation by comparing the semantic similarity between generated text and the reference text using BERT embedding. These metrics capture the contextual meaning rather than just n-gram overlap. If we saw in our previous examples where we have used the n-gram, we have a generated text and we have the reference text, and we just match those words. But BERTScore is more on the semantic similarity. That means if the reference text and the generated text is contextually same meaning or not. In terms of where to use BERTScore, sample use cases could be text generation, summarization, translations. When you want to evaluate the semantic quality of the generated text, especially for tasks where meaning is more important than exact word overlap, please remember that use cases that when you have to evaluate the semantic quality or the semantic meaning of the generated text rather than exact word by word matching. And last but not least, we have Perplexity. Perplexity evaluates language models by measuring how well the model predicts a sequence of words. The point you should remember, lower perplexity indicates better performance. A model with perplexity 20 is better than one with perplexity 50. And in terms of use case, you can use for language model evaluation like GPT, BERT or GPT 4.0. And when to use perplexity? When you want to evaluate the predictive performance of a language model on a specific dataset. These are the necessary metrics that you should understand in terms of Amazon Bedrock model evaluation. Please stay tuned and explore other modules from the bootcamp playlist for a comprehensive understanding of the topics required for the certification. That wraps up this module. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more update, and feel free to drop any question or feedback in the comments. We would love to hear from you. I hope this session helped you gain a deeper understanding and brought you one step closer to your learning goals. Thank you very much for watching and learning with us at CloudExpert Solution. See you in the next module.